breakup video for the views?
Sure. I also think it's just an excuse to talk.
I always said, like, I want a breakup video to, like, pay for a trip to Aruba, and then we'll do the healing in Aruba.
Oh, okay. So they can help us
Exactly.
heal. So Eric and I used to date. I don't know if you know that. I think the day we broke up, I wasn't planning on it or anything like that. It kind of just happened. But I think I definitely kind of expected it to be coming up soon. But then again, like, okay, if I was being honest, I probably was like preemptively preparing for our breakup for like the last year of our relationship. Because I think even when we started dating, I kind of had this like temporary sort of sense. And it's not something that came from me. It was more just that like even when we started dating, you were very much like, oh, like I have plans to travel and I want to do this, this, and this.
I think the thing about our relationship is, like, from the start, we kind of made it very clear that we weren't going to get married because, like, we communicated a lot and, like, that's not what either of us wanted. And, like, I know, like, I wanted to go and, like, travel the world and you wanted to go to grad school and, like, we didn't want to kind of, like, finish finding ourselves in our 20s. We wanted to, like, you know, have the next 10 to 15 years of our lives to kind of go out and explore and experience more. So I think that always created, like, a very important basis for me of, like, this is going to end, but I don't ever want to, like, lose her. So it was always very important for me to, like, maintain a relationship, even if, like, the dynamic behind it shifted. Are you guys really friends, or is it just on camera? A lot of YouTubers do that. We're not friends even on camera.
We're enemies.
We fucking hate each other.
Okay, so I think the months leading up to our breakup was when I was probably at my all-time low, the band. I think I had this sense that when I left in February that it might have been it, just because I think every time I left to go back home, those last few times, I kind of just had this feeling of, okay, this might be the last time that I come back. Not that I was planning on breaking up with you or anything, but just that, like, it just felt like I was waiting for it to happen. I felt like it was going to happen. Normally being back home makes me feel a little bit better, where I can kind of recharge myself and feel good again. And then I can go back and then I'm fully charged and I'm all good to go. But I think this time was a little different because I was feeling a lot of distance from you. And I almost felt like I had to force you to talk to me, which I never blamed you for anything that you did, because I knew that you were going through your own thing that was far worse than anything that I was going through. But I mean, I think I also needed comfort and I wasn't getting it. I think I felt super neglected those last few months.
So COVID came at a very weird time for me, because it was also kind of like the point that we were kind of planning on breaking up from the beginning, because years in advance I always had the idea of, like, August 2020 being, like, when I would quit my job and leave and go travel. And then the opposite happened, and I was diagnosed with severe OCD, and I reached a point where I couldn't really take care of myself, or like I couldn't really, like, feed myself, and I think I was very guilty that you had to be stuck with me, and I never wanted to make it harder for you, but it was always it was this worst feeling because I knew that I wasn't strong enough to be there for you the way that you needed someone to be there for you, and you always had to be the one that was there for me.
I hate that you think that I was stuck with you or something like that. Like, I know I tried reassuring you that, like, these were my choices, but I mean, even in hindsight, I wouldn't have broken up with you sooner or done anything of that sort. Like, I always knew what I was getting into, and I wanted to stay with you during that time.
Are either of you dating others again?
We're on the apps. Like, I'm on the apps and I'll swipe on people and things like that, but I'm not the most interested. Honestly, I think it's because feel like I spent a lot of time when we were in our relationship together, especially I think in the last year, just focused on you, that I never really thought about myself too much, that I think once we broke up, I was like, oh shit, what do I want? Because I haven't thought about this in a long time. So I feel like now I've just been spending most of my time just trying to do things for myself.
Would you change anything about anything that you did?
I sometimes wonder if I enabled you too much. Like, I think I sometimes wonder I if I was the one that let your OCD get out of hand, which objectively I think is ridiculous to think, but it's definitely a thought that runs in my head. I wonder if maybe I should have stopped you from getting anxious over germs the way that you did during COVID. That's like really sad. I know. Is that too vulnerable?
This doesn't have to go on the video. Hold on, let me stop crying. How many times did you cry after you guys broke up?
Oh, too many.
Too many. Such sad
many.
songs. So we broke up on FaceTime in the morning.
It was morning for you, it was the afternoon.
Shut up.
So I think on that final call, because we broke up over FaceTime, I wasn't planning on breaking up with you, but I was just so frustrated. So I think you had said something in the conversation that was just like, are you mad at me? And then I remember specifically, I didn't want to break up with you. I brought up my frustrations, and immediately after I was like, let's just stop the conversation. I don't want to get into it anymore. But you said, let's keep on going. So we just kept on talking, and either you asked or I asked, like, do you want to stay together kind of thing. The question came up. And I just remember specifically you said, I just don't have the energy. And I didn't know where to go from there. I think I was the one that kind of bit the bullet and kind of just said, okay, then I think we should break up. And then we both ended up crying on FaceTime, but then also laughing because we were talking about hot girl summer because we broke up in May. So we would cry and then laugh and then cry and then laugh again.
So when you kind of brought up the idea of us breaking up, it was heartbreaking for me, but it also was like relieving in a way, because it felt like an out for you, and that's kind of what I needed. And I think, like, as a part of my OCD and anxiety, my therapist talks about like reassurance a lot as an aspect of it, and so I think I put you in a place in my mind beyond just like, you know, my girlfriend or my partner, but also like a thing that I needed to feel safe, and when I didn't have you to feel safe, I think it was replaced with a lot of negativity. How did you avoid the urge to block your ex? Did you ever want to block me? Did you block me? What happened? Wait.
I did mute you for maybe the first 3 months. I think you called it out on one point because you had like messaged me and it took me forever to respond, and it's because I turned your notifications off.
Dude, also you put a bunch of like blocked words in your comments about like
yes,
and I'm a
genius. Oh my god. And yeah, that was just because I didn't want to keep on being reminded. So I was like, oh, let me just go to the little TikTok comments and just start blocking the words Eric Beckerman, boyfriend, breakup, relationship. And then we ended up hanging up. And then you came over later that night and we talked in my backyard. And I was never sure when you showed up if you were either just there to kind of, it didn't feel right to break up on the phone, so maybe you wanted to see me in person, or maybe you were going to try to convince me to stay together. I wasn't sure which one it was, but I know I definitely said that I think we made the right call by breaking up, so I feel like I solidified it even more.
We broke up on FaceTime, and then I just remember like crying in the shower. And I got out of the shower, and I was like, I'm gonna go see her. And I also like, I had just barely seen my parents for the first time in over a year, and like I hadn't seen anyone else or like left the house or like functioned as a human at all. So I think that was kind of the first moment in part of my mental health recovery, is being like, I need to prioritize things over my anxiety and OCD, because I didn't want either of us to kind of go through the breakup alone, and I didn't want you to feel like I was just gonna like, we broke up after, you know, like a 3-year serious, like the most important relationship in my life, and then I was just like, well, we're done. I wanted you to know that I was still there. So I went to your house, and I tapped on your window at like 11 p.m. and you were like, what the fuck? My parents told me not to do that, by the way. They were like, don't go to her house. And
Did your friends say the same thing too? I feel like you texted a few people.
Yeah, it's fine.
How did your family react? Your parents hate me, right?
No, they don't hate you.
Your parents hate me?
I will say though that when I was leaving the house to come and film with you, my dad did give me a look of like, no.
Oh, you're gonna go back?
You're gonna go back?
You're gonna be that girl.
Yeah.
My parents were just like, who?
I've never seen that woman in my life. She definitely did not live at our house basically for like 3 years. And we just talked outside, and then he wanted to dance, and I had to throw up because I got so anxious that everything was coming up my throat. So
we talked in your backyard, and you threw up, and I was like, as someone with contamination OCD, that's probably concerning.
Yeah, that was like the worst. That's why as soon as I came back, I was like, I'm not sick. I'm just anxious. I don't remember anything more specific than us trying to make jokes during our breakup, which feels very us.
So unhealthy, you mean?
But I don't think it's unhealthy. I think we have our coping mechanism.
What songs did you listen to a lot to get through the breakup?
Oh my god, that's so funny that you say that, because that's
crazy.
actually we did on my channel. A lot of the way that I processed our breakup was through music, so that's why I wanted our video on my channel to be about the songs that we listened to during our breakup. So if you want to know, you should watch that one.
Oh, the video that they can see by clicking the link in the description?
Yeah, that video.
Oh, I love that video.
I know I've asked you this before, but is there anything that I need to apologize for? And I don't mean that in like a dickish way, but like I'm perfect. But I mean it just more, was there anything that I ever did that was hurtful that I need to own up to now?
I think there are a lot of moments in the last 2 years, or like the last year of our relationship, that I would have changed. But I wouldn't change a single thing about, you know, the moments of our relationship in a healthy world, you know, independent from our relationship itself. I think everything that we did together and every moment that I spent with you, I think is some of the most important and formative moments in my life. And I'm just very grateful that I had you as a partner, and that I still have you as, you know, like the best friend in my life. And I'm just very glad that we're still in each other's lives.
I'm just glad that we could actually be friends, and that you fought against my the bitterness that I normally have towards my exes, and the reasons why I normally don't contact them after a breakup. I'm really glad that you broke that mold, because I think otherwise I would have been really bitter and just cut you off when it's not very fair. And I really like having you in my life, because I think that was like the best thing about our relationship, was that we were best friends. And so I'm glad that we can sort of keep that part of our relationship.
Why is she wearing a tank top over a shirt?
Listen.
I posted a TikTok about our breakup, where I was just like, we broke up because you want to hook up with women. And then that got 3 million views. And a lot of people are like, oh, why'd they break up? And then people respond, they're like, it's because she's gay.
Yeah.
Which is like, my bad.
I still like men. That's not why we broke up.
Tell us why you broke up. Whose fault was it? Somebody cheat?
Shut the fuck up. We broke up because we both want to hook up with women.
I don't love labels. Queer's fine, bi's fine. I don't really care. But I like anyone that's cute.
But we did not break up just so that we could hook up with other people. That is comedy.
Who was Taylor and who was Harry in the breakup? I don't know what that means.
So, okay, actually, I think I get what they might be referencing. So, supposedly, when Harry and Taylor broke up, he left her on a yacht. Like, he left her alone on a yacht, like they had broken up and just ditched her.
There are worse places to ditch someone.
Who got ditched on the yacht?
I feel like either of us ditched the other one.
Yeah, we both left the yacht.
Wow, that's a great metaphor, man. Do you have anything else that you want to say?
I'm perfect, cute, and single. If anyone wants to hit me up.
I think that pretty much sums up the video.
I'm really good at deflecting.
Well, that's the outro.